on First at 9, this Sunday, the 13th of October, 2024. A journey of 19 years. Derana celebrates 19 years with the launch of Prana, a nationwide initiative to help heal the lives of those affected by blood disorders.
We should not wait for government organizations to start initiatives also to be of service to the less privileged.
Into monsoon rains, nearly 120,000 people affected across Sri Lanka amid severe weather conditions. Flood warnings extended. Schools shut down. Schools temporarily closed in several Western Province educational zones. Power to implement. NPP requires more political power to implement decisions, insists President Anura Dissanayake. Political controversy. Former SJB MP Hirunika Premachandra resigns as national organizer of SJB. NPP says it is determined to increase relief for the people, but Sarva Janabale questions the borrowings of the new government.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
වැඩිම මනාපෙන් ජනතා තේරීම මෙවරත්.
සුදේශී ඔරිජිනල් කුහුඹම තමයි.
Hi, I'm Fiza. Are you after O-levels? If you are, join our ANC Foundation program.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
This is Other Derana First at 9 with Ndivadi Amuata. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a very warm welcome. You're joining us tonight, this Sunday, on your primetime English news service here at Other Derana 24. Let me take you straight to your top story making headlines tonight. And this is a developing story here in Sri Lanka with the low atmospheric disturbance around Sri Lanka prompting severe downpours to most parts of the island. It is reported that nearly 120,000 people in 13 districts are affected. Meanwhile, the Department of Irrigation extended flood warnings issued to low-lying areas around River Kalani and Attanagalu Oya for the next 48 hours. As the adverse weather continues, the Western Province Education Ministry announced that all government schools in the Kaduwela and Kolonnawa education zones of the Colombo district and the Vattala, Kalaniya and Gampaha zones of the Gampaha district will be closed tomorrow.
Against a backdrop where the country experienced incessant rains and heavy flooding during the past few days, the Department of Meteorology observed a reduction in rainfall today. Accordingly, the highest rainfall of the past 24 hours of 70.2 millimeters was recorded from Angoda in the Colombo district. Despite the decrease in heavy rainfall, several areas and roads remained submerged. This was caused by the overflowing of several major rivers. The Irrigation Department stated that minor flood levels were recorded in the River Kalani at the Nagalagan Vidya and Hanwala water gauges. Similarly, River Kalu reached a minor flood level in the Millakanda area today, while overflow from the Attanagalu Oya caused a minor flood situation in the Dunamale area. Accordingly, low-lying areas of the rivers Kalani, Kalu and Attanagalu Oya continue to experience floods which severely disrupted people's livelihoods. In the meantime, the Department of Irrigation announced that the flood warning issued for low-lying areas along the River Kalani has been extended for the next 48 hours. The department urged the residents in affected regions to remain vigilant and heed all safety precautions as weather conditions continue to pose risks. Additionally, floods were also recorded in Hanwala, Malvana, Kaduwela, Kalanimulla, Nagalagan Vidya and Valampitiya areas. As the incessant rains prompted floods in the Kaduwela area, the Kaduwela interchange of the Southern Expressway continued to remain inundated. As the Attanagalu Oya reached spillover levels, 4 main roads leading to Gampaha remained submerged. In light of the situation, the Irrigation Department extended the flood warnings issued to low-lying areas along the Attanagalu Oya for the next 48 hours. Traffic in certain areas of the Kaluthura district was disrupted due to the overflowing of the rivers Kalu and Kuda. Against this backdrop, the Sri Lanka Navy provided support and provision to the people affected by heavy flooding. Meanwhile, the remains of a person who had been traversing the flood were recovered today in the Kalanimulla area in Angoda. The victim was identified as a 34-year-old resident of Kalanimulla. With that, the total number of deaths reported due to the inclement weather for the past few days increased to 3. The latest reports issued by the Disaster Management Centre stated that 118,210 people belonging to 30,017 families across 13 districts are affected by the prevailing adverse weather. In the meantime, the Department of Meteorology forecasts that prevailing heavy rainfall is expected to continue tomorrow.
Prevailing shower conditions is expected to continue in western Sabaragamuwa, northwestern and northern provinces and in Gol, Mathura, Mahanura and Nuwara district. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters are possible in western Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces. Showers or thunder showers can be expected elsewhere, especially during evening and night. Strong winds above 30 to 40 kilometers are possible.
Subsequently, the National Building Research Organisation issued Level 2 amber landslide warnings to 6 districts across the island. The Western Province Education Ministry announced that all government schools in the Kaduwala and Kolonnawa education zones of the Colombo district and the Wattala, Gampaha and Kalaniya zone of the Gampaha district will be closed tomorrow in view of the prevailing adverse weather.
Horizon Campus 2024 Intake 2. Register now.
චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙත් මන අපේ සිංහ TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
Welcome to Cinnamon Life, South Asia's biggest entertainment hub, where awe awaits.
කාගෙත් ප්‍රියතම මෙලිබන් බිස්කට් දැන් 30ක් සීනි අඩුවෙන්. රස දන්න කාටත්
හරිෂෝ.
Sri Lanka decides 2024.
Now, President Anurakkumara Dissanayake asserts that the National People's Power must secure a strong political authority in the upcoming general election in order to implement crucial decisions ahead. Addressing a meeting of the NPP, the head of state emphasized that the party's goals can only be achieved through the individual success of its representatives. He also noted that the power secured by the NPP in the forthcoming general election must derive from individuals who possess qualities expected by the general public.
A meeting of the parliamentary candidates of the National People's Power was held in Colombo today under the patronage of party leader President Anurakkumara Dissanayake. The meeting also saw the participation of several senior members of the party.
We are
currently in a transitional phase aimed at acquiring strong political authority. To effectively implement our decisions, we need more robust political power. But what does a strong political power mean? In 2010, Mahinda Rajapaksa secured 2/3 majority in parliament. However, within 5 years, he lost the election. Similarly, in 2020, Gotabaya Rajapaksa gained a majority in parliament, but in just 2.5 years, that majority was shattered, leading to his resignation. This indicates that strong political power does not solely depend on the number of representatives we have in parliament. In addition to a sufficient majority, that group must embody the qualities expected by the general public. Therefore, those qualities must be instilled in you. The necessary majority will ultimately be granted to us by the public. We can only achieve the goals of the NPP through each of your individual accomplishments. Recently, we met with a prominent politician from the northern province who expressed readiness to collaborate with our government after the general election. We emphasize that even he is not prepared to work with us, the people in the north are already eager to partner with us. We mentioned during the presidential election that your vote for the NPP will yield great results. There weren't discussions about retiring from politics. Politicians either win or they die. However, for the first time, we are hearing the term retirement in politics. These are the transformation we are witnessing.
හැබැයි ලංකාවේ පළවෙනි වතාවට අපි නම් දේශපාලන විශ්‍රාම යනවා කියලා. ශබ්ද කෝෂයට වචනයක් එකතු වෙලා තියෙනවා. වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩයක් එකතු වෙලා තියෙනවා. මෙහෙම තමයි පරිවර්තන කියන්නේ.
Leader of the Sarva Janabalaya and Gampa district candidate of the alliance, Dilith Jayavira, states that Sri Lanka must focus more on discussions surrounding entrepreneurship to facilitate the country's development moving forward. While attending an event in Colombo yesterday, Jayavira highlighted that entrepreneurship should be included in the school curriculum, along with an emphasis on creative and critical thinking.
The Diploma Awards ceremony and fashion show of the Ranlia Institute were held yesterday under the patronage of the leader and Gampaha district parliamentary candidate of Sarvajana Balaya, entrepreneur Dilith Jayavira.
MD Deshapriya.
For 3 decades, I have been making various efforts to popularize the concept of entrepreneurship in society. It's all about deviating from traditional thinking, being creative, and using that creativity to achieve your goals. Over time, as I acquired more social skills, I was able to promote these ideas step by step. Unfortunately, not everyone has equal opportunity to learn about entrepreneurship, as it is not included in the curriculum. There are no institutions that teach creative and critical thinking. This is why our country is stagnating instead of moving forward. You must be educated to create jobs, not just to take jobs. This is what our country needs, and we must have discussions about it. Therefore, think like an entrepreneur. Do not focus on what you don't have. If I had done that, I would not be here today.
Commissioner General of Elections Samantri Ratnayaka noted that the deadline for candidates who contested the 2024 presidential election to submit the expenditure reports to the Election Commission in compliance with the regulation of Election Expenditure Act expires at midnight tonight. According to the Commission's latest report, only 30 out of the 38 candidates who contested the 2024 presidential election have submitted their expenditure reports so far.
As per the regulation of Election Expenditure Act, candidates contesting a presidential election must submit an expenditure report to the Election Commission within 25 days of the poll. Thereby, Commissioner General of Elections Samantri Ratnayaka noted that the period in which presidential candidates must submit their expenditure reports ends at midnight tonight. According to the Election Commission's latest report, 30 out of the 38 candidates who contested the 2024 presidential election have submitted their expenditure reports. Meanwhile, the People's Action for Free and Fair Elections asserted that legal action can be taken against candidates who fail to submit their expenditure report in compliance with the regulation of Election Expenditure Act.
We believe all other candidates will submit their expenditure reports within today. If they fail to do so, they are violating the law. The Election Commission must make these reports accessible to the public within 10 days. Thereafter, the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption will assess these reports. They will investigate how candidates acquired funds and if any illegal methods were used to do so. They will also investigate if individuals who provided funds to candidates have paid their income taxes to the Inland Revenue Department.
National Executive Member of the National People's Power, Professor Anil Jayantha Fernando, claimed that the International Monetary Fund did not object to the government's relief program created for people living in the current critical economic situation. Meanwhile, Udaya Gammampila, executive member of the Sarvajana Balaya, argued that the incumbent president, who criticized the previous government for borrowing, is now pushing the country into deeper debt. With that, let's take a look at some views presented in the political forum.
Currently, the public is facing a serious situation. We proposed a relief program in response to this issue. To revive the country's economy and attract investments, we need to provide essential items such as food and fertilizer to the public. The International Monetary Fund did not object when we sought to expand relief for that purpose.
When I talked with a person who's close to our party leader, I was extremely disappointed because he said that organizers who are on the ground level failed to fulfill their duties during the presidential election campaign. I will resign as the national organizer from Samagi Vanitha Balawegaya and contest in the parliamentary election.
I will not talk about the incidents that previously occurred continuously. If I can continue my clean political journey again, I will do my job without hearing blame from the upper level in the country. If I gained an opportunity like that, I might not engage in politics, but I will be present in the political arena.
Sri Lanka decides 2024.
Derana celebrates 19 years with prana. Join us to help heal. We'll talk about that when we come back after this short break. To stay with us.
Fast track your career from O-levels with eSoft.
කාගෙත් ප්‍රියතම මෙලිබන් බිස්කට් දැන් 30ක් සීනි අඩුවෙන් රස දන්න කාටත්
හරිෂෝ
දරුවන් ගැන ඒ තරම්ම හිතන නිසයි ලංකාවේ අම්මලා විශ්වාසයෙන් මෙලිබන් කිරිම දෙන්නේ.
Welcome back. TV Derana is celebrating 19 years. To mark this milestone, Derana embarked on a nationwide initiative to register donors to Sri Lanka's first stem cells donor registry. Prana, the initiative, is in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, the National Blood Transfusion Service and the Sri Lanka College of National Transfusion Physicians. You can join the registry to become a lifesaver. Let's find out how.
In Sri Lanka, cancer and blood-related disorders have become a major contributor to both morbidity and mortality rates. In 2022 alone, 33,243 cases were reported, out of which 1,001 accounting for 3% of total cases were leukemia, a cancer found in blood and bone marrow caused by the rapid production of abnormal white blood cells. What is devastating is that 790 lives of the patients treated for leukemia did not have a long lives.
These leukemias and lymphomas are more common in children than in adults. If you take children up to 14 years of age, there are about 1,032 cases reported in 2021 alone. So out of this, about 35% of children have been diagnosed with leukemia. And if you take adults from 15 to 35 years of age, about 15% of them have been diagnosed with leukemia.
About 4,000 new patients are diagnosed with blood-related disorders in Sri Lanka every year. According to the Health Promotion Bureau, approximately 2,000 children are diagnosed with thalassemia annually. Stem cell transplants can be used to treat around 80 blood disorders, including leukemia, thalassemia, and lymphoma.
Usually, the main mode of treatment or main modality of treatment is chemotherapy. However, there are certain groups of leukemias due to certain mutations that occur genetically cannot be treated alone with chemotherapy. So chemotherapy will not suffice to eradicate or destroy the cells from the body. So in those cases, we might need an additional help. That is when we need allogenic stem cell transplantation.
Stem cells are the only cells in human body that make different cell types like blood, bone and muscle cells. Stem cell transplants are generally of two types, autologous and allogenic. Autologous transplants are conducted using the stem cells of the patient themselves, whereas in allogenic transplants, stem cells of a donor are used to replace the damaged blood cells of the recipient. At present, stem cells have become an essential treatment for blood cancer and blood disorders.
There are about over 90 registries at the moment in the world, and over 42 million donors are registered under those registries. About 10 to 20% of number of donors are increasing yearly in all over the world as a registered stem cell donor. But unfortunately, we don't have a registry in Sri Lanka. Whenever there is a necessity to identify a stem cell donor for one of our patients, we have to look into the registries of the other countries. Very unfortunately, it's quite difficult to get a matched donor from the other country because the HLA diversity is so huge that matched donor may not be able to identify from other registries due to HLA disparity between the donor and the patient. Even if you find a matched donor from the other country, it will cost over 5 million to get down the cells to Sri Lanka for transplantation. Therefore, the patient has to bear large amount of money to get down the stem cells from overseas.
Stem cell treatments are available in developed countries including the United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, South Korea and Singapore. Neighbouring India, which has emerged as a global hub for medical tourism, has also become an attractive destination for stem cell therapy. Although in Sri Lanka, facilities are available for such treatment, the most pressing issue remains the lack of matching donors, or for that matter, registry containing information of potential donors.
We are doing stem cell transplantation in some places in our public institutions. In 2016, Maharagama Apeksha Hospital started their program, and then 2021 from Lady Registry Hospital, and then recently about 2 months before, the transplant unit established in Teaching Hospital Jaffna. Those 2-3 places currently that functioning doing the stem cell transplant, especially the autologous stem cell transplant. But within the family and some disease conditions, we should do allogenic stem cell transplantation. From allogenic stem cell transplantation, donor and the patient should match their HLA type. If not matched, donor cells are not destroyed by the patient's immune system. Donors, about 25% of the patients get the relative from their family. Other 75% of them don't have related donors to get their transplantation, and then they die.
In a nationwide effort to seek suitable donors for patients diagnosed with blood disorders, the National Blood Transfusion Service launched Sri Lanka's first stem cell donor registry in June this year. This will allow patients with blood disorders access to a database of volunteers willing to donate stem cells, providing them with a second chance at life. After donation, the donor's stem cells naturally regenerate and return to normal levels on their own.
One might think that up to now that we don't have this facility, but we do have bone marrow transplantation opportunity in Sri Lanka, but in very limited quantities. 8 patients maximum can have a bone marrow transplantation in Sri Lanka. That is due to many limitations. The most critical limitation is they couldn't find a matching donor for the treatment requirement. So that is the main reason we should have a good donor registry to find an adequate number of donors registered in the list through which that will be able to find a match for the needy patient. That is the crucial thing that we launched this bone marrow transplant donor registry.
According to the bone marrow transplantation program of the National Cancer Institute of Sri Lanka, the success rate of stem cell transplants in Sri Lanka is 90%. Against such a backdrop, TV Derana, in light of the 19th anniversary, launched the national initiative Prana to register donors to Sri Lanka's first stem cell donor registry in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, the National Blood Transfusion Service and the Sri Lanka College of National Transfusion Physicians. We had a name when establishing Derana, which was to distance ourselves from personal agendas and provide a service to the public. That is what Derana has been doing for the past 19 years. We stood on behalf of Sri Lanka and its people. When the anniversary was drawing closer, we thought we should do another program. That is what we commenced as Prana.
අපි තවත් වැදගත් වැඩක් කරන්න ඕන කියලා තමයි ප්‍රාණ නමින් මේ වැඩසටහන ආරම්භ කරනවා.
A hotline was dedicated to the public to register as donors.
We should not wait for government organizations to start initiatives also to be of service to the less privileged people of our country. And I know some individuals attend programs of this nature considering that it's a social obligation or using their celebrity status to create that awareness. But I urge even those celebrities to come wholeheartedly to support this cause, not only to appear and disappear, but to be part of some of these worthy causes. I think it's important that we show our support towards the fellow citizens of our country.
I would like to ask all the Sri Lankans to support this cause. And I know that being a Sri Lankan and whole nation, when it comes to difficult tasks, people are get together people are supporting each other. So I'm sure that people of Sri Lanka will help this great cause.
Potential donors should be between the ages of 18 and 45 with a weight of 50 kilograms or above and meet the required medical stability. Those who have fulfilled the basic requirements can fill out a pledge form, be available for a quick swab test for the collection of sample cells and then be added to the registry. When there is a match, the donor will be contacted to donate at a specialized hospital. If you want to save a life, contact 0112 369 968 and register yourself as a stem cell donor.
Welcome back. We take you to business affairs. Sri Lanka's official reserve assets recorded a 0.5% increase in September this year. According to the central bank's figures, the country's official reserve assets stood at $5.59 billion as at the end of last month. The figure includes the funds received by the International Monetary Fund, Asian Development Bank and the World Bank. And Sri Lankan domestic airline Cinnamon Air recently announced the launch of 2 new daily scheduled flights connecting Kandy and Sigiriya with the south coast destinations Koggala and Hambantota. The flights are set to commence on the 1st of November this year and will operate until the 30th of April next year. The flights are strategically timed to cater to the influx of foreign travellers during the winter holiday season. These cross-country flights are designed to enhance convenience and reduce travel time while ensuring an unparalleled experience for those who wish to explore Sri Lanka's south coast after visiting the Cultural Triangle or the Central Hill Country. And that wraps up tonight's edition of First at 9. I'm Indivari Amuatha. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.